Hey, thanks for clicking that subscribe button and bringing yourself back to me so we can talk about The Old Way. Which, yes, this is one of those movies where they use the title in the film because this is how cheesy this film is. It's on Hulu and it does not have audio description, sadly, but it's a Nicolas Cage film. And after The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I think I've renewed my love for weird Nicolas Cage performances, so I really want to see The Old Way just to find out. I was like, Nicolas Cage in a Western? All right. And I promised myself this year that I wouldn't see things I didn't want to see. And no matter how much Peacock wants me to watch Terrifier 2 and review that, I'm not watching it. I don't fucking care. It's not happening. I don't care. I don't even care if it has audio description. It's not happening. I didn't even check. I just saw it and I was like, no. But it's up there in my Peacock recommendations. So I watched this instead, and it didn't even have audio description. Just I was like, no. No thank you, sir. This also has Ryan Kiera Armstrong, best known for being the little girl to tell the Razzies to go fuck themselves. Uh, Actually, I think it was all the adults that did that for her. But this was, you might remember her because she was the lead in Firestarter last year. And then the Razzies thought it would be fun to nominate a child for Worst Actress. And everybody was like, okay, that's a bit much. Like, we love your, like, we're in on the joke, we get it. But no, we draw the line at nominating child actors in this category. It's bullying at some point. And she actually was not the problem with Firestarter. I did not watch Firestarter and go, this kid. She's also not the problem here. There are lots of problems, but she's not that. This is a shitty film. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's made somewhat more entertaining by Nicolas Cage's unflinching commitment to being in a different movie than he thinks he's in. I think he thinks he's in Unforgiven or something like that. I think he's really going for it. And it's a very serious performance from him. It's very sort of meditative. I mean, he's really acting his face off here, but unfortunately, give the face off reference. Unfortunately, the people they've paired him with in this cast. When Clint Howard has this many lines, be afraid. Be very afraid. It's not good, guys. It's really not. Some of these actors, they read the lines like they just got them. Like somebody just handed them the script and they just memorized the lines and walked out on the set and just said them. It's got this air about it that none of these people are right for the film. None of these people have any idea what a Western is like. Like, they've never seen one before. Nobody sounds like they're from a West. There's a whole bunch of people that don't even have accents. They're just walking around talking like me, and they're like, I'm in a Western. I'm a cowboy. Just, are you? Yeah, they sound like they fell off the cast of a CW show. I don't know what happened in casting with this, but it's all on Nicolas Cage, and it's one of those revenge things where it's a guy with a very particular set of skills that he's accumulated over a long period of time, where he's seeking revenge, and his name precedes him. He's one of these people too that it's somebody is trying to get revenge on him for something in the past, but then like everybody else, when they meet him, they're like, oh my god, is that him? Oh shit. Like, everybody's just, they're just like he is John Wick from this universe. He's the John Wick of this universe, basically, is what Nicolas Cage is playing. He's the guy that people just go, oh, you made that guy mad? Oh, damn. Oh, hell no. Oh, it's like the legends of this guy and what he's done to people are just... But now he's a family man. He has a wife and a daughter, and he has a normal job. And he just wants to be left alone. But unfortunately, some guys who really, really needed an acting class, they were trying to find an acting class, but instead they ended up riding into this town, and they're not going to let him live his life peacefully. So, needless to say, something terrible happens, and they keep reminding you how terrible it is too, because there are like multiple references to, like, oh, I can't believe it, oh, it's so terrible. And like there's one scene where like one of the guys goes to Nicolas Cage and he's like, "Don't let your daughter go in there. It's you don't want her seeing that." And it's I mean, I didn't have audio description, so I have no idea what it looks like, but I kind of just imagined that room in Event Horizon where at first they don't have the light and then they turn on the light and there's just like gore everywhere. Like the walls are just covered in like guts, just covering the whole room. That's what I was kind of imagining, based on the intensity at which these people were trying to like sell just how horrifying everything was. Because there definitely wasn't anything to necessarily sell it in terms of like long drawn out screaming or torture scenes or anything. It's not like that. I pretty much just thought everybody just got shot. I mean, I'm sure some people got shot in the head and a little bit of gore happened with that probably, but this is not a serial killer film. I just reviewed a little while ago Ty West's doing In a Valley of Violence. I mean, he's a horror director. I would think that his film would be more gory than this. This just doesn't strike me as being something that's profoundly gory. But yes, Nicolas Cage and his little daughter, Ryan Keir Armstrong, go and they seek vengeance. And she learns along the way how to become a badass. And it's a very weird movie. It has a score that is far better than the film deserves, but isn't necessarily memorable. It's like, if you know somebody who's a really good musician who can just sit down and play the piano and just sits down and just starts playing. They're not really playing anything specifically. They just sort of understand how the piano works and how chord progressions work, and they just sort of start moving through things, and they're just kind of feeling something out. It kind of feels like that. Like it's very pretty and it sounds very pretty, but it also sounds like everything else that's ever been written. It's just written really well. Like it could have been a throwaway script. But this composer obviously felt like he needed to punch above his weight, and it was like, this movie may not be very good, but at least people are gonna listen to my score and be like, oh well, the score is pretty. So yeah, I think that's probably the one thing everybody watched this and was like, oh, the score is nice. So it's very nice to listen to. It could have been something that was just thrown away or not really used, or they could have just gone with strong sequences of silence, but it tries to be one of those somewhat grandiose sweeping scores. It's worth mentioning. That's why I'm talking about it. And there really isn't anything else worth mentioning. Cage's performance is fine. I actually don't have a problem with Nicolas Cage in this movie. I don't have a problem with Ryan Keir Armstrong in this film. Everyone else can go fly a kite. I know Clint Howard is doing a Clint Howard thing here, so I put him in a separate category because he's sort of doing his own thing, like he always does. He does predictable, but usually he's not in enough of a film for him to really ever make that much of an impact. If the film is serious, I would have much rather seen the main villain guy in this. I don't even want to know who it is. I really don't. I would blacklist him. I don't know who it is because I don't want to. It's probably Chad Michael Murray or something like that. It's somebody who's just so inappropriate to be in a Western. And I think about somebody like Ben Foster and how Ben Foster constantly gets cast in shitty films. I'm like, this would have been actually the first shitty film he could have been in where he really would have had fun with this role. Like, Ben Foster versus Nicolas Cage in this film would have taken this film to another level, because Ben Foster is somebody who also really loves to commit to a role and a performance, and he's also proven that he's very adept in this genre and with accents and everything, and I think he would have nailed it. I have no idea who this is, and nor do I care. It's probably somebody from Riverdale. I really, it's bad performances all around. The further you get away from Nicolas Cage, I didn't even like his wife. I didn't like, she only has like 3 lines of dialogue, and I didn't even think that was the good, you know. Everybody just feels like they didn't know they were in a Western. I don't know. It's a very odd film, but as far as watching this as a blind person, it's a Western, so we don't know who's shooting who from where and who dies when and how they die and any of that stuff. Plus, it's a revenge movie, so you don't know how, like, revengey it is. Like, is he sneaking up on people? Is he really taking them out? Is he taking his time? I mean, this guy's supposed to be a badass killer. Does anything badass ever actually happen? I have no idea. So, it's all of that is kind of lost, but it's also not a smart film. So because it's kind of stupid, I was able to follow it. So I can't. It's really hard for me to sit here and say it's unwatchable, because it's also not an intelligent piece of work. So at the same time, the director and writers of this project did not do something complicated enough that I believe that you can't follow this. I think it's kind of obvious that it's a revenge thing where, like, everyone must die. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not gonna be one of these things where, like, some people get to live because they atone for their sins, or I don't know, some bullshit. This is obviously set up to be a certain type of film, so it is what it is, and it's really obvious in doing it. So even though I didn't understand quite all of the action and the sequences and who was shooting and from where, and I have no idea what the set design was like, and there are certain scenes where it's like, is the violence really that extreme? I mean, we're going to talk about extreme violence, but is it? You know, there's a lot of questions I would love to have answered by audio description. I'm very on the fence about whether or not to just flat out grade this or say it's unwatchable. I mean, technically, it should be unwatchable because this doesn't have audio description, and there's a lot that I'm missing. But it's also it's not a smart enough film for me to think that the average moviegoer going into this, if they sat down, like if you were sitting down with your partner, spouse, whatever, and they wanted to watch this because they're a big fan of Westerns, and they click on it and they're like, oh no, I'm sorry honey, there's no audio description. And you're like, oh, it's fine. I'll just, if I fall asleep, I'll fall asleep. You're like, I don't know, it's a Western. You like Westerns, just go ahead and watch it. If that happens to you, I honestly can't say you wouldn't be able to follow this film, because it's not that smart. It's not very good. And if you're a big Nicolas Cage fan and you just want to watch Nicolas Cage and listen to Nicolas Cage deliver lines in that very Nicolas Cage way, there's something to be said for that. So, I don't know. He needs better films. He's fine in this. Ryan Keir Armstrong is fine in this. If the Razzies try to nominate her again, I'm going to lose my mind. But just leave her alone. She's perfectly fine. She's not Dakota Fanning. No, I'm not gonna say that this girl's destined for greatness yet. I've yet to see that level of performance from her. But I've seen child actors and actresses. I usually just don't say their names, and I definitely don't memorize them. That of people that I just don't ever care to see again in a film. I'm gonna grade The Old Way. This is, it very admittingly should be unwatchable, but I think it's too stupid to be unwatchable. So I'm gonna give it a D+. Um, the score is fine. Cage is fine. Ryan Kara's fine. That's it. That's where it stops. Yeah. So there you go. In case you were wondering, it's on Hulu. You can watch it. It's a 2023 film. It came out in January. I think it had some kind of a theatrical release. I think it was also like a day and date VOD drop. But there you enjoy for your viewing pleasure. Yeah, this is not good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I also have a website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, MacTheMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what is audio description and where you can watch it. And the ADNA.org, that's the ADNA.org, where you can look up a film or television show and see who is narrating it. That's it from me. I will review something else for you guys and see you on the other side. This is the old way. Like the Mandalorian, right?